Manchester United chaos is back. Ruben Amorim shock links, Rashford's Barcelona twist, and Roy Keane absolutely destroys the squad. Let's get into it. Ruben Amorim set for shock return to management as replacement for another ex-Man United boss. Ruben Amorim has been out of work since leaving Manchester United back in January, but the former Sporting Lisbon boss could soon return to the dugout in familiar surroundings. Ruben Amorim is on the cusp of a return to management after being lined up to replace another former Manchester United manager in Jose Mourinho at Benfica. Though he arrived in the Premier League with a burgeoning reputation, Amorim endured a turbulent tenure at Old Trafford, and the 41-year-old was sacked by the club back in January. The Red Devils' fortunes have improved significantly under Michael Carrick, who is poised to become head coach on a permanent basis after impressing in an interim capacity. Amorim initially made his name as a coach in Portugal with Sporting Lisbon, where he won 2 Portuguese titles, and his return to management could come at one of their biggest rivals. The Sun claim Benfica have set their sights on Amorim to succeed Mourinho, who is Real Madrid bound after agreeing a return to the Spanish giants. Though Amorim has strong links with Sporting Lisbon, he did represent Benfica in his playing days and even finished his career at the club before moving into coaching. He is also close friends with the Benfica president, Rui Costa, who was the club's sporting director during Amorim's playing spell. The Benfica chief is still an avid admirer of Amorim, who won just 25 of his 63 games at Manchester United. Intriguingly, Amorim was previously touted as a potential successor to Pep Guardiola, who has decided to leave Manchester City at the end of the season after a trophy-laden decade at the helm. Hugo Viana, the sporting director Amorim worked closely with during his stint at Sporting Lisbon, took up a similar position at the Etihad last year, and it was reported that City had identified Amorim as a candidate to replace Guardiola back in October 2024. Other top clubs were also credited with an interest in Amorim during his time in Portugal, including Liverpool. However, it was Manchester United who moved for the Portuguese coach just weeks after City's interest had been reported after deciding to sack Erik ten Hag. Manchester United had one job for Pep Guardiola's Man City exit. They've done it just in time. Pep Guardiola is set to leave Manchester City at the end of the season, and his departure could lead to a period of transition at the Etihad. Here is a certain irony that in the week Pep Guardiola prepares to pack up his belongings and leave the Etihad, Manchester United are in the process of confirming another permanent head coach. If Guardiola has offered trophy-winning stability to Manchester City for a decade, across town, United have been in a constant state of flux, lurching from one grand plan to another in an attempt to crack the code. Guardiola's 10 years at City ushered in an era of dominance in Manchester, if not necessarily always on Derby Day, then certainly over the course of a 38-game season. There were memorable days for United, none more so than the FA Cup final of 2024, but dethroning City was always too big a challenge. It wasn't impossible to beat them to a title, as Liverpool and probably Arsenal have proved, but it took years of toil, and your decision-making around managers and recruitment had to be faultless. That isn't a description that sits comfortably with events at Old Trafford in recent years. United were never resting on their laurels and shrugging their shoulders, but in recent years it has been clear that they had to put the club back on a footing to challenge in time for Guardiola's departure, which has been edging closer and now appears certain to happen at the end of this season. He could have left at the end of the 2024-25 campaign, when United had just finished 15th, and that would have been worse in a way. Guardiola has built a squad of enviable depth at the Etihad, and his successor has plenty of talent to pick from. But this isn't the title-winning machine of the late 2010s and early 2020s, and any changing of the guard comes with a degree of uncertainty. The quality in the squad should avoid the kind of scenario United had in 2013, while Enzo Maresca is a more sensible continuity appointment than David Moyes. But there will be no guarantees that City will be as good next season. There will be an emotional toll with Guardiola's departure, and now United will feel they are in a position to capitalise on that. They have already secured third in the Premier League and could yet finish as close to City in the table as at any point since Guardiola's first season in charge. If both teams win their remaining games, the gap will be 12 points. but it was 29 points last year and 31 the year before that. United will hope that this time they are onto a winner in the dugout, but also that the head coach will have an easier time of it now that the structure is in place to support them. That structure has leaned heavily on the success at City, with Chief Executive Omar Barada poached directly from the Etihad and Director of Football Jason Wilcox arriving via Southampton. There have been other recent hires who have swapped City for United as well. So far, Michael Carrick has delivered a compelling case to suggest he has what it takes to bring success back to Old Trafford and to build on a third-place finish. 11 wins from his 16 games in charge is an excellent record, and one that began against Guardiola. The former midfielder was the 6th different United boss that Guardiola had come up against during his time at City, and he will end with the distinction of holding a winning record against him, even if that is just based on one game. Having seen recruitment go well in the summer of 2025, United have another big window ahead of them as they look to overhaul their midfield. Getting the replacement for Casemiro right is vital, but if they manage that, there is reason to believe there can be good times ahead. Winning the league within the next couple of years remains the target, with Project 150 still very much on the agenda at Old Trafford, which would mark the club's 150th anniversary with a league title in 2028. That should be more achievable with Guardiola no longer in charge at City. Arsenal will require catching as well, but City have been a trophy-winning machine under Guardiola, having accumulated 3 FA Cups and 4 Carabao Cups. Maintaining that under Maresca will be difficult, and it might lead to more opportunities for silverware for others. United will now feel they can be in the shake-up for trophies. If there is any drop-off at City after Guardiola's departure, they had to put themselves in a position to make the most of it. They might have done that just in time. Man United news: Marcus Rashford in Barcelona transfer twist as club reach contract agreement. Manchester United loanee Marcus Rashford continues to capture transfer headlines ahead of the summer window. Manchester United are already focusing their attention on shaping the squad ahead of the summer. The club has secured 3rd place in the Premier League and will return to the Champions League next term. Michael Carrick has been instrumental in transforming the team's form during his spell in charge. As the 44-year-old edges closer to being appointed United boss permanently, he will be aware that several key decisions need to be made in the transfer window. United loanee Marcus Rashford has continued to dominate headlines during his time away from Old Trafford. The forward has been clear about his desire to stay with La Liga champions Barcelona, but still faces uncertainty over a permanent move to the Catalan club. Meanwhile, veteran goalkeeper Tom Heaton is nearing a new deal, which would be a boost to the club's Champions League squad. Here, Mirror Football looks at some of the biggest stories surrounding the Red Devils. Marcus Rashford transfer twist. Spanish publication Mundo Deportivo reports that Rashford has already agreed in principle to a 3-year deal with Barcelona, but the terms must be changed to seal a permanent move. The England international's salary is claimed to be 40% lower than his wages at United. Mundo Deportivo reports that Rashford views changing the 3-year agreement as his only option to stay at Barcelona. It is explained that extending his deal to a 5-year contract would be financially beneficial for the club, as it would allow the Catalan side to amortise the transfer fee over a longer period. Barcelona have an option to make Rashford stay permanent for around £26 million. The 28-year-old has contributed 8 goals and 9 assists in 31 appearances, helping Hansi Flick's side secure the league title this season. However, the two clubs are yet to reach an agreement and have been locked in discussions over the previously agreed fee. The Catalan club are unwilling to meet the £26 million buy option, while United have no intention of lowering the price. Man United contract agreement. Experienced goalkeeper Tom Heaton is set to sign a 1-year contract extension at United. The 40-year-old has served as the club's 3rd-choice shot-stopper since 2021, making his last competitive appearance in February 2023. Heaton began his career in United's academy and enjoyed successful spells elsewhere before returning to his boyhood club. The former England international has also been a mentor figure for United's new number 1, Senna Lammens, this season. The former Burnley star agreeing to extend his stay at Old Trafford will be beneficial to United's Champions League squad as he qualifies as a homegrown player. UEFA rules dictate that every club must have a quota of 8 association-trained players, including a minimum of 4 homegrown stars, to submit a full 25-man squad list. Man United can give Michael Carrick dream start by triggering £69 million transfer release clause. Michael Carrick is in negotiations to remain at Manchester United on a permanent basis and could begin his new tenure with a replacement in the defensive line. Michael Carrick could be handed the perfect start to his permanent tenure at Manchester United if the club complete the £69 million acquisition of Sporting CP's Maxi Araujo. The former club captain is in negotiations to continue managing at Old Trafford, with a 2-year deal expected to be announced imminently. What Carrick will require in the summer is backing by the United hierarchy, with last year's signings proving their worth over the season. Matheus Cunha, Brian Mbeumo and Benjamin Sesko have impressed in front of goal, with Senna Lamens also showcasing his talent between the sticks. The United board can continue this run of good form in the transfer window by securing a long-term replacement for the battling Luke Shaw. The veteran defender scored the team's first goal in a 3-2 win over Nottingham Forest on Sunday afternoon and is expected to remain a big part of the team next season, even if he doesn't start every game. Araujo could be the man to take over the role of left-back at United. According to reports in Portugal, the club registered an interest in the 26-year-old earlier in May and have made contact with his representatives regarding a potential deal. The Sporting CP star has been thriving in Liga Portugal since arriving at the club 2 years ago. He has scored 11 goals and provided 13 assists in 91 appearances. Other clubs are reportedly keen on Araujo, including Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, Juventus and Atletico Madrid. Araujo has already expressed an interest in playing in the Premier League in future, although it would be for Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. The fullback admitted his desire to work under Guardiola after Sporting defeated City 4-1 in the Champions League, with current Arsenal star Victor Gyökeres netting a hat-trick for the Portuguese side in 2024. When asked if he'd like to join the Spaniards team in the future, Araujo said, "I hope so. I hope so. I asked him for a photo. We talked for a few minutes and he congratulated me. I'm very happy about that. We talked about the game, nothing more." Despite this wish to play for United's rivals, Araujo has another link to the club in the form of ex-manager Ruben Amorim. The pair worked together in Amorim's final months before his transfer to Manchester and had plenty of praise for his former boss. Discussing his personal bond with the 41-year-old, Araujo said, "For me too, because at all times, in the short time I worked with him, it was incredible. I had an incredible vibe with him. He was always in a good mood. He's a great coach, and I loved working with him." Because both those who played and those who didn't were all focused on the same goal. And I think that sometimes isn't something so easy to achieve in big teams. Things don't always happen that way. This season, the 26-year-old has made 45 appearances for Sporting this season, scoring 7 goals and assisting 5 more. The £69 million release clause placed by his current club could be a sticking point for United, but Carrick will expect backing from the hierarchy this summer and beyond in order to bring more success to Old Trafford. Raging Roy Keane rips into Bruno Fernandes and Man United star's behaviour in explosive rant. Former Manchester United captain Roy Keane took issue with the emphasis the club and Bruno Fernandes placed on the Premier League assist record against Nottingham Forest on Sunday. Roy Keane has launched a scathing attack on Manchester United's players and Bruno Fernandes for prioritising the captain's assist record over simply winning the match. The United icon took aim at his former club and questioned their mentality, given how much emphasis there was on Fernandes breaking the record rather than the team simply winning. Fernandes equalled the Premier League assist record after registering his 20th of the campaign against Nottingham Forest to play in Brian Mbeumo. The Portugal international matched the figure previously recorded by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. Keane was incredulous at the attitude displayed by the United squad and claimed that attention should be given only to the sideshow after earning success. "You're going to get assists in that position he plays. 20 would be better if you're winning trophies, Keane said on Stick to Football. When you're the captain of the club and you're supposed to be driving the club forward, do not be getting bogged down by your role in the team, just assists. I think what I heard at United at the weekend, I was raging with it. The whole chat about his assists and players talking about assists. He got interviewed after the match and I was watching and everyone was talking about assists. The game was about his assists. After the game, he got interviewed and he said in his interview, the captain of Man United, a few times I should have shot, but I made them passes. How can your mindset about football be going into a match and talking about an individual record? He's going to get all of them stats anyway, but to become the main point of Manchester United's performance at the weekend, I was cringing with all of them. And all of the players going over to him when he got the assist. What about the guy who scored the goal? Gary Neville interjected, saying, there was nothing on the game. United had finished in the Champions League. Forest had already stayed up. But Keane fired back. If your mindset is like that going into the game, what's to say it's not like that in other games? You say there's nothing in the game, there's always something on the game. There was 70,000 at the match yesterday. I'm just saying, all the players talking about Bruno's assists when you're not winning anything. If you're winning stuff and players are getting individual awards, fantastic. Golden Boot, thumbs up to that. Player of the Year, no problem. But that's further down the line. The priority is the team. Man United's priority this weekend was Bruno getting an assist, not winning a football match, not strikers getting goals or defenders or being good at set pieces or keeping a clean sheet. There's other parts of football that are really important. So for one player to get bogged down with assists and his team aren't winning anything, that's my issue. That will happen anyway. Bruno will get loads of assists the position he plays, and he's got runners ahead of them. What's the point? What's the point? You're part of a team game. What's the priority of the team? To try to win. Of course he's doing his job. He's a brilliant player and he's player of the year. He's getting the rewards and in the summer he'll probably get another new deal because he's threatening to go to Saudi Arabia. We've been down this road before. He's got previous. So for a player to get assists and that becoming the priority, that will come when your team is focused on trying to win the big prizes and keeping clean sheets. If they win the league next year and he gets 20 assists, I'll say, you know what? Well done, Man United, on winning the league, and Bruno, well done. That's a little sideshow. That can't become the main show. Is he not contributing to the team trying to keep clean sheets? That's part of his job, Keane continued. If you're going into a game and it's affecting your decision-making, listen to his interview after the game. There were chances for him to shoot yesterday, particularly in the second half, but everyone was getting bogged down with assists. When he got the assist, they all ran over. Forget the goal scorer. The assist should be the backup to everything else. The assist became the story. How can the assist become the story at Manchester United? Look at the second half. He admitted himself. First half he had a few shots, but then it all became about the assists. What do you get for it? What's the reason for playing for Man United? What's the number one priority when you play for Man United? Neville put forward that Fernandes wanted to win trophies at United and that's why he remained. However, Keane spat back and he won't be winning trophies. Not with that mindset of the team yesterday where they've given up 2 goals and everyone's getting all giddy because he's equalled a record for assists. It's mind-boggling. It's a circus act. The Irishman still managed to prompt a few laughs in the discussion, however. Continuing his assessment, he said, players won awards at United, it was fantastic, but not where that was the main chat. You're on about winning Player of the Year. I got Player of the Year once and nobody turned up at the dinner. That's not my priority. My priority is winning trophies. Laughing, Neville said, we had a game that week. Leaning over the table, Ian Wright chuckled. That's still touching you deep. Keane chirped with a wry smile. I'm not one to carry a grudge, Ian. While Keane may not be convinced, regardless, Fernandes actually said he found greater happiness in earning 3 points against Forest and that he probably should have passed more rather than search for the glory of a goal. Keane misheard Fernandes's words, it appears. Speaking following the game, Fernandes said, everyone knew that it was important that I could get another assist at least. They've been trying everything they can to score from my passes. There were probably moments today when I should have passed instead of shot. I'm very happy for the assist, but more than that, I'm happy for the win and to finish the season on a high.